From your credit cards to decluttering your home to inconveniencing yourself just a little bit by saying no, learn wildly simple money-saving tips. Whether you live month to month or make money while you sleep, grab a pen, some paper, and listen as we give you 5 top money-saving tips you could use to start saving or grow your savings. But first, if you're new to the workshop, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on new content. Now, let's get started. Cut the credit card into pieces. And we mean that literally. You're not trying to save if you're heavily using credit cards. Using Mark Cuban's exact words, he said, "Credit cards are the worst investment you can make." You may be wondering why you should even agree with Mark Cuban. Well, firstly, he's one of the few billionaires in the world today, and you already know that becoming one is not just a walk in the park. With a $4.6 billion net worth as of the start of 2023, you have to agree that Mark is someone who understands the psychology of money. And hey, what better way to learn than from the best teacher? Experience. Experience also shows us that credit card debts easily accumulate and become more and more difficult to pay. How could you save when you have all that debt hanging on? Credit card companies make it easy to pay back debt through their 1 to 5% minimum payment every month. And of course, this may seem like a good deal, but it isn't. It's their strategy to make you pay more. The longer it takes you to pay off your debt, the more money you would pay as interest, and that means even less money you'll have to save. Credit card debt can ruin your saving because of the high interest rate you have to pay, and with no cap as to how high this rate can get, you can see rates upwards of 20 to 25%. This could result in paying thousands in interest if you delay payment or only pay back the minimum amount every month. For example, a $5,000 credit card debt at 20% annual interest would result in an extra $3,000 paid if it took you 5 years to pay it off. Imagine if you'd paid cash and had instead invested that $3,000. You won't just be saving on credit card debt alone if you choose to stop using these cards. You'd also get to cut back on fees. This can include annual fees for using a particular card, the balance transfer fees you pay when you transfer a balance from one card to another, cash advance fees, and late payment fees. Although some of these fees are minimal, you wouldn't have to pay them if you don't use a credit card. Stopping the use of credit cards will also curb overspending. The truth is, we tend to spend less when we pay with cash than when we can easily swipe with plastic. Spending more than you have is one of the main habits that can ruin your financial well-being. And since credit cards tend to make this really easy, it may be best to avoid them altogether. You could use the excuse of convenience if you're looking for a good reason to use credit cards, but if smashing your savings goal is a top priority for you, then a little inconvenience like deciding not to lean on your credit cards is something you should seriously consider. Declutter your home. Another area you can check for savings is in your home. Get rid of things you don't need for the sake of your financial future. Do you still have that vintage chair that you got for a steal at a garage sale that you never sit in? Sell it. How about the crystal vase you found at an antique shop? Put it up for sale. You'll be surprised at how much clutter you have in your home that you don't even think about or use. Chances are you have all kinds of stuff in your home that can bring in money for savings. Maybe you have more clothes than you can ever wear, more shoes that you could ever use, or more gadgets that you could ever need. Why not make a few bucks from them to put aside into savings? Decluttering can help you lead a more frugal life, and a frugal lifestyle can be a freeing experience that allows you to focus on what's truly important. It also frees up your money since you now have fewer habits to maintain. This makes it easier to keep track of where your money is and what it's doing. Another reason to consider decluttering your home is it gets rid of the mental clutter that comes with the physical, so you can gain clarity and peace. Learn to say, no, not now. To be able to control your whims, you have to learn to delay instant gratifications. Of course, we understand you live in a world where food from your favorite restaurants can be at your door in less than an hour, where the show you really want to binge is just right there with all the episodes available, and social media is selling you the right now lifestyle. You're just a few clicks away from satisfying the urge for having nearly everything. But if you could suspend some instant gratification by saying to yourself, no, not now, you'll save so much money. When you practice this often, you'll build better spending habits and be more content. When you cut down on the things that don't really matter, you'll have more energy, time, and money to save and spend on the things that you really care about. If saying no to items sounds difficult, think about money in terms of how much time you'll need to work to afford that item. For example, before buying that $100 pair of shoes, think of how many hours you'll have to work to afford them. Chances are, you're more likely to drop those shoes back on the shelf and leave if you earn the national minimum hourly rate. You're less likely to make impulse buys and more likely to put your money into your savings if you think this way before buying. Use the 30-day rule. This rule will help you have a stronger stance on saving your money. The next time you walk into a store and see something you really like, or just come across an intriguing ad for a new service or product you'd love to try out, or you find yourself reaching to your cards to spend money based on your emotions, then pause. Take a deep breath and let the 30-day spending rule come in handy. With the 30-day rule, you simply have to think about all your non-essential spending for 30 days. Here's how it works. When you feel the urge to spend money on an item, take a piece of paper and write down the name of the item, where you found it, how much it costs, and the date. Then put the note somewhere prominent in your home. When you've done that, think about the purchase for the next 30 days. Meanwhile, deposit the cost of the item into your savings account. If after 30 days you still want the item, then go for it. If you forget about it or realize that you don't need it, then the money stays in your savings account. This is an incredible way to help boost your savings over time. Know your why. In the end, you spend a lot of time focusing on each of these tips, but unless you have specific reasons to save, you may struggle. Knowing your why is an important part of boosting your savings. It provides direction and meaning for your saving efforts, which makes it easier for you to stick to and to make sacrifices since you know the goal you're aiming for. When you clearly specify your why, it becomes easier to follow through with each of the previous tips. Waiting 30 days and learning to delay your gratification become easier to manage if you have a goal you're trying to reach. Knowing your why becomes the #1 tip that can improve your saving over time. This will help you to maintain focus and measure how well you're tracking along your saving journey. This builds the motivation you need and can give you the energy because you know the purpose of your savings journey. So here's an actionable tip for you. If you don't yet know why you're trying to save, grab a pen, paper, and take a few minutes to think about your why. Then put it somewhere you'll always see so that you can remind yourself often. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it or learned something new, send it to a friend. Also, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell so you know when we drop more money-related content. See you in the next one.